Welcome to Survivor NSFW. Jonny Fairplay. It is a beautiful summer morning. It is a Saturday. Last week we obviously went to Big Tom's. I'm out on my patio. I said, fuck it. I'm going to bring my laptop. Unfortunately, there's a guy cutting the grass across the street. Who cuts their grass at like 8 in the morning? But whatever. I got my coffee mug with mustaches on it. And
I got my Stranger Things Hawkins High School.
That's dope, dude. I've already.
No, this is actually, sorry, I take that back. This is the Hawkins Middle School AV Club coffee mug.
Oh, right on, hell yeah! And I'm actually, Jonny. So I have a kind of an audio interface down in my basement that I have another microphone. It's a different setup, but I also have this Blue Yeti I bought, and I know this is what
we're twinsies.
Yeah, we are. We are. So you might hear some birds chirping. I was out here early morning with my dog Goda, hanging out. It's a beautiful. It's been really hot and humid here, but it's a beautiful morning. And honestly, as much as I hate getting up early mornings, dude, like, I don't know. There's something about it that's pretty dope.
Yeah. So you almost burned your beard off yesterday,
dude. So I've been wrapping my beard, which my wife is like, "What are you doing?" So it's so long. I've been wrapping it in this like beard pretzel thing, right? Yeah. So I was cooking, I was filming a video, and I started smelling something. I'm like, "What the hell is that?" And I'm like, "Oh shit!" I look down, and my beard had been just kind of touching the side of the griddle that gets really hot.
Yeah.
And I look down, dude, and it's like just singed, destroyed beard hairs all over the place. So I just kind of like, I brushed it off, and all these like singed hairs were just kind of like disintegrating like powder, you know, and yeah. So it's
Did you do some damage?
A little bit, you know. Here's the problem with my beard, Jonny, is it's so long that there's becoming thin spots down at the bottom. I could easily cut like a foot or two off of it and still have an extremely long beard, but it would cut out all the thin spots. But I'm kind of also on a quest to grow my beard to the floor, so I'm not sure what to do. I'm in a pickle right now.
I like to talk to girls, and I go, "What's the deal, pickle?" they love it. They love it. It's...
Well, here's another. So today we got an interview with T-Bird from Survivor Africa. It was our first time meeting her, and we went to Big Tom's. And before we got to Big Tom's, you were picking her up at the airport. So
yes.
Explain kind of how this 4th of July trip, give us the story leading up to, me showing up at Big Tom's.
Sure. Well, let's go back in time a little bit. Big Tom reached out to me. He's like, Fairplay, I'm trying to, I got Lex coming down for a few weeks. We're trying to surprise. I want to have a bunch of the survivors come out and camp out in my yard, bring tents and camp out and surprise him. I guess from you, I just need addresses. I was going to handwrite invitations and send them out. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, yeah. Can I go ahead and take the reins on this a little bit? And he's like, well, yeah, I mean, but, I kind of want to write. And I'm just like, I've seen Survivor Africa and All-Stars. I've seen your writing.
Yeah, right, right.
So I got in touch with Tanya Vance, and we collectively got in touch with just a boatload of survivors. It was you, me, Tanya Vance, Donathan, Bubba from Vanuatu, T-Bird and her husband, and did we have more?
No, I think that's it. So
I think that was it. We had tentatively scheduled Jane Bright, Jeremiah Wood, Gavin,
Silas,
and
also Roger Bingham was supposed to go, but he had a prior obligation, so he didn't have really the time to do it. But I tell you what, man, it was awesome. But before we got to Big Tom's, you actually got to hang out with I saw photos on Instagram of like pool party action at Tanya's with Donathan, and a funny story about picking T-Bird up at the airport.
Well, all right. Well, so I get into town the July 3rd, which is commonly referred to as the day before the 4th of July.
Right.
That's what the cool kids call it. I don't know. So we had dinner with. So Tanya picked up Donathan. I met them, and we had dinner with Gavin and his wife Carly, and that was insightful. Because I had met Gavin that is super professional of me. I had met Gavin the night before the premiere of Edge of Extinction, so en route Cincinnati for our big premiere party.
Right.
So he tight-lipped as all get out, and then totally different conversation post facto with Gavin, and he's a really good guy, and man, was he the victim of a theme that I get it. I totally get both sides of it, and it is what it is. So, but just for the record, Gavin, top notch, class A, good kid, very good kid.
And he's kind of bitter though, right?
No,
but let's just put it this way. Yeah. I don't think Gavin is extremely excited of how the season went down and the fact.
Would you be?
Hell no. And the
Would
thing
you,
is,
if you had played basically as a game under any circumstance that would have awarded you $1 million, and then to subtract $900,000 from your bank account.
Yeah, dude, I would not be happy. And a little backstory.
But he's a good, but he's not sitting around, yelling or crying about it. He's just like, well, that kind of sucked.
Well, and the problem is with Gavin is like, Gavin does seem like a great guy. Actually, Jeremiah Wood spoke on our podcast before, during the Edge of Extinction airing, how Gavin was this kid at Myrtle Beach or something, and
Ron John Surf. I gave Gavin a Ron John Surf Store sticker because I'd gone to Myrtle Beach the week prior. So.
Yeah, so Jeremiah was like, Gavin was excited to meet Jeremiah, and Jeremiah kind of helped get Gavin on Survivor. And the thing is with Gavin is a good dude. He got screwed by the circumstances. It is what it is, but I don't think Gavin, and this is no offense to Gavin, but I don't think Gavin is one of those polarizing enough players, even though he made it far, to get asked back anytime soon. Do you?
No.
So that's the thing that sucks, is the fact that
that was his chance.
Not only, yes, that was his chance, right? Yeah. And that's a shame.
I don't think he's bad. I just don't think he's dynamic. I mean,
well,
I just think he's I would if you could say, Jonny Fairplay, would you like to be a good person like Gavin, or would you like to be you? I would probably like to be me, just because I like being bad.
Right.
I think 98% of the people, 98% of the people listening would probably be like, I would rather be a good person.
Yeah, right. But anyway, props to Gavin. Yeah. Gavin, I'm excited to meet the dude, and from what everyone says, he's a sweetheart. And I love those Southern people, Jeremiah Wood and Donathan and Tanya and Big Tom.
I like Carly more than him.
Huh? Oh, his wife?
Oh, yeah.
Of course you do.
As great as Gavin is, I'm all in on Carly.
You're all about the girlfriends, dude. I mean, you like Grizzle.
I do.
Like Grizel. I'm just kidding. That's an inside joke. But so after.
Yes, so fast forward to the next morning, and my daughter, I had my daughter Piper with me, but then my ex brought over Madeline, my 2-year-old, who's been in Michigan for the first part of the summer, and so she's finally back. And so right before we get to the airport, Madeline comes, and we go to the airport, and we have posters to pick up T-Bird. And what should we throw this on as bonus content at the end of the podcast?
What's that?
The airport scene.
Oh, is there video footage of the
Yeah.
airport scene?
Yeah.
I mean, what I'll do here,
Yeah, let's
before we
do a bonus.
Yeah. So what I'll do though is like the stuff we're recording right now. In between this and when we go right into the T-Bird interview, I'll do it chronologically. I'll do the footage for that, so you'll see it right after we're talking about this.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, like, if you're just listening to the podcast, it'd be best to listen.
Okay. Well,
the
video version though is what I'm saying. The
Okay.
video version, because the video version.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
It's totally different. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look at you
editing.
editing.
So the audio I'll do later, and the video I'll throw bam, making the magic happen.
All right. So but if you're
we'll figure it out. Whatever the case.
If you're listening to this, go watch the video.
Yes.
Go watch the podcast, and then at the end you can see.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the podcast is the airport scene.
Yes.
So Tanya, Jonathan, and Piper make posters for T-Bird's arrival via Delta, I believe, and one says T-Bird's #1 fans, which I held up that poster.
Yes.
And the other poster said, welcome home, T-Bird from prison.
Now, how did she react when she saw those signs? Did she laugh?
Oh, she loved it. Her and her husband get off the plane, and she's almost on the verge of tears. I get a kiss, followed by another kiss, followed by another kiss. Everyone she is a kissing machine. If this whole flight attendant thing doesn't work out for her, she should open up a kissing booth because she has a ton of practice.
She should. She kissed me multiple times too.
Yeah.
She is a kisser.
She is a kisser, and I loved her on Africa. I mean, she's even more special in person than she was on the show, and I thought she was an extremely dynamic character on the show. Right. So no, I like and she had gifts for. I mean, we get back to Tanya's, and I'm making burgers for everybody before we head to Big Tom's. I mean, because it's a whopping 1 hour drive.
Yeah.
And maybe 50 minutes. It might not even be an hour. And she was just like, Jonny, I know you run, so I got you a towel from that you use for 5Ks. Yeah. And then the girl, she gave them these glow stick things, and then glow rings, and I mean it's like everyone she had a gift for, and I mean she's amazing. So then we made our way to Big Tom's, met up with Lex. Of course Big Tom had spoiled the surprise of who all was coming, of possibly who all was coming, and for the record, Big Tom has an amazing cabin in which tents aren't required. So yeah, camp out in my front yard in tents. No, we're gonna use your Love Shack cabin. And
right.
So there will be a separate video, MTV Crib style, of a look at Big Tom's cabin, and it's awesome. And it was the good times just flowed from there. Jonathan met Big Tom for the first time ever, and Big Tom for some reason would not, could not, should not remember Jonathan's name and kept calling him Devin. Not Devin, just Devin.
Just Devin.
Devin, you all right? I like you. So I do remember you made it to Big Tom's like around 8 or 9 p.m.
On Friday night. Yeah, I had to work and I left a little early. And
sure.
Yes, so it was around 9 p.m. You guys were playing cornhole.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you get there about 8 or 9, and we're up until 2:30 at night that first night, and we make it from the big house up to the cabin. We all ride on a four-wheeler together. So Lex is driving a four. This isn't an oversized four-wheeler. This is a normal four-wheeler. So right. Lex is driving. You're riding bitch. Donathan's riding extra bitch, and apparently I'm side bitch because I'm barely on this motherfucker. My phone flies out of my pocket,
and I'm holding on to Fairplay's like. So I'm holding on to Lex with one arm, my left arm around his waist. Donathan's got his stuff around me, his arms around me. I'm holding I'm holding Fairplay's like underneath his leg, like his thigh knee area with my right hand, and we're flying up this freaking gravel. Like Lex is not playing around like let's go slow. He is flying, drifting around corners. Fairplay is literally screaming.
Drifting.
Yeah, Fairplay's like, oh, I'm not on, I'm going to die, oh, no. And me and Donathan, we're all like laughing, and Lex is like, just who fucking cares? And we made it up to the top, man. And
I realized what 30 minutes later, I'm like, I lost my phone. It was in my pocket. And then we drive down at 3:00 in the morning, and there's my phone like beside a cow patty, at towards the beginning of our journey. So, but one of the highlights of the weekend is once again it's like 2:30 in the morning, and Donathan just all doe-eyed. He comes there, he goes, This is one of the best nights of my entire life ever. And I look over, I go, shut up, Devin.
Oh God, that Friday night, man, we partied, we drank, and had some beers and some wine. I mean, I didn't drink the wine, but
Big Tom pass out moonshine to you guys?
Well, I tried a little sip. I'm not real into that type of thing, man. I like sticking to having some beer, but we stayed up late, and Saturday morning was a little rough one. Me and Donathan just stayed in the cabin for a while.
I was up at 7. I'm just like, these guys ain't gonna be moving. And
I had quite the headache, and I think, did you give me one ibuprofen? Someone gave me one ibuprofen pill.
I gave you one ibuprofen, and then Donathan gave you his
prescription deal. And that prescription deal is what. So thanks to Jonny Fairplay, I ended up drinking the cheer wine. I had like probably 2 or 3 of them damn things. Just getting some sugar and getting that ibuprofen. I felt great, and we had an amazing. Rest of the day, rest of the weekend. Here's another funny thing, is I literally, dude, wanted to see a black bear so badly because I knew that there was black bear in that part of the country. Sure enough, on Saturday, we're all by Big Tom's house, and someone yells, bear! And there's this freaking black bear, dude, that just was running across the field right by Big Tom's house. It wasn't up in the hills. It was in the down lower area. And so I got it on film. And there's a clip on my Instagram, the Matt Bischoff Instagram, that you can go back and check out. But it was cool. And then Lex was like, is that a big dog? He was kidding, obviously. But it was awesome. We fished. Big Tom and Lex are 2 of my favorite survivors. Jonny Fairplay, like, you're my friend now. We do this podcast. But I tell you what, like, it was one of the highlights in my Survivor experience, going to Big Tom's house, hanging out, and like last week when we did the Big Tom and Lex podcast, that was like right when we were getting ready to leave. It was a rushed deal, I tell you what, that rushed deal in front of that fishing pond was one of my favorite pods we've ever done. Like this, I would say, like off the top of my head, the Survivor podcast, top podcast that I've ever got to do with you, just as far as bucket list people to interview. Sure. And that Big Tom and Lex one was right up there. I mean, top 5. We've done a lot of podcasts, but it was a top one. But we got to interview, while fishing, T-Bird. And it was super cool. T-Bird has her own podcast on RHAP that she's doing. T-Bird is a sweetheart. She is full of energy and full of life. And you could definitely tell why she got cast on Survivor. So, Jonny, do you have anything to say before we jump right into our T-Bird interview?
No, it was a pretty awesome weekend.
It was. I can't wait to go back. And as Jonny said, man, it's awesome at Big Tom's. It's beautiful. There's a cabin. There's a fishing lake. But you guys aren't invited.
Yeah, you guys aren't invited. Did you guys catch? So Big Tom's wife Sandy, also up there is one of the nicest people on the planet.
Oh yeah.
So at 7 a.m. on Saturday, she's cooking breakfast, and she's cooking breakfast, and she is literally cooking breakfast nonstop until like 11 a.m. because like people are slowly walking up, Tanya and her husband, T-Bird, so there's just the convoy of people. So then probably like at 11, she finally flips her last egg, and she goes, "Okay, time to start making lunch."
Yeah.
Well, they call it dinner. They call lunch dinner. She goes, "Time to start making it." So so she flips her last egg, puts the skillet in the sink, and then starts boiling water for hot dogs.
Yeah, it's crazy because I got down there probably all close to 11, between 10:30 and 11 was when I showed up, Jonathan and I, and she's like, "Matt, how do you like your eggs?" And she gave me apple butter and all this stuff, and then Big Tom's bringing a can or a jar of this pickled green beans. It's like dill
Dilly?
pickles. Yeah,
Dilly.
but they're beating. Man, I'll tell you what, Big Tom, Sandy, Bo, their whole family's awesome. And from the bottom of my heart, it's an honor to be able to come to your house. Big Tom, if you're listening, which you probably aren't because you don't even know what a podcast. I think you called a podcast one time a Pomcom or something.
He calls it Pomcom and podcast.
Yeah. But Jonny, I'm excited to share this interview we did. It was a special one with T-Bird. So enjoy, you guys. Cheers.
Here we go. Tanya with T-Bird's biggest fans. Jonathan with welcome home from prison, T-Bird. We missed you. We got Piper and Madeline. I'm Jonny Fairplay. And who is this coming right here through these doors? Survivor Africa Zone. Is that the T-Bird?
Hey, darling.
That's so funny.
Did you read your sign? Teresa. Darling.
How was your stint?
I don't know where to start.
Finally, about time.
But I feel like I know you already.
Well, I know you too, honey. Aww.
So this is my husband. This is Glenn.
Hi,
This is
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
How are you? You don't get an excited
This is a beautiful Tanya.
We excited to see you.
You look so cute. I was like, cute. She looked. And
And
this
finally.
is the infamous Jonny. Do you want me to shake?
Whoa!
Did you get it? Did you get it?
I hope. How are you?
Had a video chat.
I'm good. How was your latest stint?
Girls are beautiful.
How was your latest stint in the can?
Hey, Jonny, I'm
Yeah, I know it.
That's so cute.
Oh my God.
We had to improvise this
We're
one.
like, oh my God.
We were laughing. We were like, is she going to kill us for this?
How do you know us?
She might vote us out of the car.
She's going to vote
I didn't
us
think
out
you'd
for
be
sure.
here. I figured y'all would already be at Big Tom's.
Well,
So this is great.
When there's a prison sign, I can't miss the action.
Which Piper helped me make.
Oh yeah, Piper's a troublemaker. Welcome to Survivor NSFW. I got Matt Bischoff right there fishing. You got Jonny Fairplay in all his splendor just doing what he can do. And look at our guest right here. We got T-Bird. T-Bird has her own podcast, but she decided to grace us today right here on Big Tom's farm. We're fishing. And we got some questions for you while you're here. Where can we find your podcast, T-Bird?
All right, so I'm on RHAP with the amazing Rob Sesternino, and we're doing Talking with T-Bird.
Which I listened to the other day when I was at work. I listened to the Stephanie podcast, which I was so pumped on because I was a huge fan of hers. I loved her back in the day.
No.
And so, it was exciting to be able to hear her doing something because she doesn't do this stuff very often.
So the neat thing about it is we're trying to find people that we haven't heard from before, in a while.
Yeah.
That people want to hear. And Stephanie, I was just like you, Matt.
Yeah.
I was a huge fan of hers.
Yep.
So to get the behind the scenes stuff was awesome and great.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she wants to come back. And who doesn't want her to? Who does not want to see her come back?
I know. She's definitely.
She's played 3 times. I'm not a big 3-timer person,
Yeah.
but for Stephanie to
Yeah.
come back the 4th time, now she's a mom.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not fishing right now because I'm talking, but I'm gonna start fishing as I'm talking.
You can do both.
So she'd be coming back now as a 4-timer, but she played in her 20s. You know, fit, lean, awesome, sassy. So now she comes back. She's a mom of 3 little girls. She's still fit and sassy, but she's a mom. So would she play differently? I don't know.
I think it's hard to not be yourself. I'm sure there'll be a lot of the old Stephanie. However, I think that her being a mom would change her perspective a little bit. You know what I mean?
Matt, right? Because you played. You had 2 little boys, and I have a little boy and a little girl. Lexi, 2 sons. So when you're playing as an older mature person, you're thinking about your children. I mean, Jonny Fairplay, now he's got 2 beautiful daughters. He plays knowing that your kids are part of this, are going to see this. Do you play the same or do you play differently? I don't know. So it would be so great to see her play.
I don't think you have a choice but to play a little different. Like, I mean, the first time I played, I was 30 years old. Like, I purposely did not have demon offsprings of Jonny Fairplay. And then fast forward, 15 years, and I'm just like, thank goodness I got these somewhat demonic offsprings.
Well,
Don't let the looks fool you, kids.
Jonny, and the game for us old schoolers have changed so much. Oh, man. Sorry, Matt.
Oh, you're fine.
Oh, my goodness. I got to get another one. All right, so the game has changed so much because back when we played, we didn't have idols. We didn't have go to another place and rest up for a while and come back. We didn't have any of that. So to play now with everything the way it's changed would be so neat. So
well, we were talking the other night, and a lot of people think that the new version of the game, the faster paced game, is a harder game to play, and it's like, well, that's one way to view it, but another way to see it is, back in the day, we didn't have nullifiers and idols and special advantages. We had to use social skills,
that's right.
which I think is a harder game. An advantage is called an advantage for a reason. We play the game without an advantage.
But Jonny, but to have a few idols, great. But like when we played, Lex and Big Tom and Ethan, they had such a social game, nobody could get through to them. So, right, Lexi?
That's right.
Nobody could break through. That's right. So to have an idol or 2 thrown in to kind of mix up their game, but still the social part, that's what mirrors life. That's what makes the game so interesting.
I'm cool.
Idols are for lazy people.
Yeah, lazy people.
I'm
Thank
cool.
you, I appreciate it.
I'm cool with one idol that dies once it's played.
Yeah.
That's what I'm cool with.
But the thing is, are the viewers of Survivor in 2019 gonna like that?
Yes.
You think so?
If you look at any Survivor fan community, you look at Reddit, they want a return to the glory days of Survivor.
That's right.
They want to see a throwback, if you will, to that form of play and see how a Wendell, how a Nick, and how these faster players can adapt to that game. I think Nick is like, you meet Nick in real life. He's got the all gee shucks, but in addition to that, he's a very personable young man.
Right.
I think he excels. I don't think he needs the handicap of an idol.
Hey, Jonny, Matt, what do y'all think about this and Lex? What do you think? You have 2 tribes. One's got the old school thing going on. One's got the new school, where one has the idols, one's playing more the social, and then how to combine somewhere at the merge and kind of see what you get with that. I mean, would that be any kind of fun or not?
I'll
I like
take it.
that.
I'll take it.
Kind of see, and then merge old school and new school together, and then see what happens.
All right. Well, whoa! Did you see there was a whale at that thing with the? Did you? Oh, you guys saw
I
the?
get a worm. Hold on. I
Oh
gotta
my
get a worm.
goodness! There was a fish. It was literally this big.
And coming from Fairplay, that sucker must have been about 3 inches long.
Right here. Look, he's back. Do you not see him? Is everyone else blind? He's coming out. He's like a white catfish. He's solid white. He's right there.
That's a carp.
Oh my God, he's huge. Catfish. Have you ever seen the movie Big Fish? That literally just happened.
You guys, the carps look like sharks, like little mini sharks.
Yeah.
Don't they, baby, in our pond? They do. Okay,
So,
here we go. Come
Oh,
on, Matt,
that's
let's bring us one in.
we need to. So,
No,
are you excited for season 40?
Well, I am. Yeah, I am. All winners.
Right.
I mean, as far as the social game, Johnny, on this one is going to be very important. I think you're going to see more social play on S40 than we've seen in a while with fraternity.
Yeah. So do you think that a new school player is going to have an upper hand from like an Ethan or an older player now that the game has changed, or do you think it's going to be an even playing field?
Well, hold on, let me. Oh, man, did you see that? Matt,
I saw it.
Stop distracting me with questions. What's happening here? And I'm missing my fish. Hold on a minute.
I guarantee those fish weren't biting if you weren't talking.
You know what? I think the players like Ethan, Jeremy, all those that are so likable and social, they got to be early targets because they're strong at challenges. And if they get to the end, you don't have much of a chance because look at Ethan. What a story Ethan has.
Oh, yeah.
You know, how do you sit next to him at the end? And,
I heard he lied about all that.
He did.
I heard he's been the picture of physical health for 15 years.
All these years, he's just been working up to this all winter season.
It's all been a ruse.
Strategic planning all these years.
Yep. So no, I think the bubble. I think it was a Hollywood backdrop. I don't think like Lance Armstrong. Oh, here we go. How cool is this? Live on Survivor NSFW. We got a fish.
Woohoo!
Look at that.
Yeah.
That is pretty.
Look at that.
Oh my
Well, at least I caught something.
Hey, and we're gonna get this mounted. And we're gonna put it above our bed. We
Above
should.
our bed. Hey, Johnny, what do you mean your bed? You and Matt's bed?
Well, once you do a podcast together, I didn't know if you knew the rules.
Now you gotta get one, T-Bird.
Yeah, you and Rob C. Who knew?
Okay, so back to that question.
Yep.
Rob C.
Put him back in, Corbin.
Oh.
Put him back in.
There we go.
So-
Catch and release. That's what we do.
That's right.
I think the players like Rob C, Sandra, the ones that people really can't trust out there, are going to be, well, kind of you want to see them at the end because I don't think they can win.
Okay, would
But I think-
you trust Rob C out there on a season?
Rob Sesternino?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Rob, I would.
Okay.
Rob,
Is that only because he hosts your podcast?
No,
I think this is just promotion. This is a promotional tool
no,
for
Johnny,
T-Bird.
this is a strategy. This is a strategy, just like Lex and Big Tom and Ethan. You find 3 other players. I can't believe I'm giving this information out. You find 3 other players that you really, really trust.
Yeah.
Would that be a T-Bird and a Fairplay? Probably not. But you got it. But Johnny, so find 2 other people you really trust that you can stay close to, and then say, all right, what happens? We get to the final 4. We're all on our own. We're playing our own game. But you got to get to the end to actually get to the end.
So you go with
So-
3, but at 4,
And that way
you can pull out the daggers.
That's right. You all say, hey, we all know we're doing it for. Anything goes. Let's just get down to the end, and then you play your own game. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
what
I
do you
would like to make a final 5 alliance with you,
think? Okay.
so that you don't
But Johnny, how can I?
you don't see it coming when I get you at 6.
And that's what I said earlier. Would I make an alliance with probably not. There it is.
I feel I'm extremely trustworthy.
Well, now what do you think about the whole season 39 with Boston Rob and Sandra's like statues?
Okay, so this is what I think.
Yeah.
I think the other players that are out there that are all A-type personalities that have wanted to play this game as badly as all of us did and feel like they can win just like all of us did.
Yeah.
You go out there, you get off the boat, the helicopter, whatever you're getting, and you see these huge idols of Sandra and Robin. You're like, what?
They
That
throw up.
would offend me. I'd be like, wait a minute, I can do this. I'm not quite sure I need the
I'm a
guidance
thrower.
of these 2 or not.
I would take my torch to the statues.
Hey, it might be mutiny. The whole group might say, we're not putting up with this.
I would love it.
Would that be crazy?
Would you
Would
mutiny?
I would say
Well,
bullshit. I ain't playing this
Because I
game.
wouldn't know what kind of
Bullshit.
what they've got in store, I'd probably be silent.
Okay.
I'd be silent. You probably wouldn't be silent with
I would set the statues on fire.
Well,
So,
we'll see. I'm hoping that we have some good newbies for 39. But however, we all know that it's going to be dominated by Boston Rob and Sandra's
Well, I think it's going to take away from the newbies, and that's unfortunate.
It is.
Especially with S40, since we're going to get to see Boston Rob and Sandra.
Oh,
So
yeah.
to take away from these new players, I think it's like, kind of sad.
Now, if you had a choice to watch a legend season, which was kind of the rumor of what it was going to be originally, or an all winners, which one would you prefer?
I guess I was kind of, that's a good question. I think the winter season, actually,
No answer to dumb. I mean, I would like to
I
see a
don't know.
legend season because I would love to see people like Jonny Fairplay, Coach,
Lex,
Russell, yeah, exactly.
Big Tom,
Stephanie, I mean,
yep,
and
You called a stick.
I got a stick fish.
Nick, well, better than nothing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited to see the
Those
next
are pretty rare
But
in
you
these
know what?
parks.
It's going to be kind of neat to see, somebody. Sandra's an all-time, two-time winner, and these winners have got a lot of pressure on them. So I would think they'd be out there playing really, really hard.
Right.
They don't, they want to be able to beat Sandra or tie Sandra's record. I think it's going to be a great season, and it's going to be interesting to see what kind of twists and turns they won't throw in on this season because they're going to.
Right.
So if you were to pick two survivors to have statues on 39, would those two survivors be Boston Robert Sandra, or would you pick
Hold
two?
it a minute. Hey, baby, what's the name of this podcast? Okay, it'd be Jonny Fairplay and Matt Bischoff. That's the ones I would pick. Is that the right podcast, baby?
Right
Okay.
answer.
There you have it. There you have it.
I mean, I think that's the smartest answer I've heard yet. I mean, I thought Rob C and Fishback was pretty strong, but you make a valid point.
Right on. Right
That
on.
could be.
I'm trying to avoid getting hit with the backswings here, but I'm also trying to stay in screenshots. So it's a happy medium we're looking for here.
Do you want to promote anything or
Talking with T-Bird.
got any-
Talking with T-Bird.
RHAP.
Yeah. So
See your old school.
where can
Players.
people find and listen to your podcast?
RHAP.
Yep.
All right.
RobHasAPodcast.com.
Podcast.
Is it every week or
We're probably going to do about every 2 weeks.
every 2 weeks?
You don't want to
Yeah,
wear
I'm
it
just
out?
trying to find people we hadn't heard from in a long time, just to kind of get their time. And the fun thing, you guys, about these people we're finding, a lot of them, like Stephanie, did you hear that? She hadn't even been watching the show.
Oh, I
So
know.
she's making all these comments about Boston Rob, and of course Rob C and I are in the background thinking, this is good stuff.
Oh yeah.
Because we're not saying anything.
Yep. She has no clue what's been going on.
So it's kind of fun to get these people that haven't been watching it and hearing stuff they're saying. So that's been kind of fun too.
Right on. Well, thank you so much, T.
You're welcome, you guys. And
Spending a
by the
little
way,
time with us and
I have never met y'all before, even though I felt like I've known you for so long. So to meet y'all and to be fishing with you
I
guys and
know.
everything is so great.
that's awesome. Heck yeah.
Are you going to catch a fish
I
before we
keep,
get
you
this
know
thing?
what? Honey, tell him I cannot multitask.
Is what?
She said this is the best podcast ever.
That's what I heard.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. Look.
They're
He
eating
ain't
your
had-
rubber
He
one.
ain't a rubber worm. That's how slow I am when I'm talking and blah, blah, blah. Okay. If we happen to get a fish, can you turn the camera back on? I got to get another worm. I keep losing it.
T-Bird, I got a question before we let you go. So we got Big Tom over here.
It's all down in, hey, when you open your little hand, you go.
How crazy it is reuniting with the Africa cast.
And I'm hoping things are going to work out a little better.
Hey, Johnny, hold on. Let me step.
It's like I feel like I've
It's
just
so
been the
windy.
coolest
Have
thing
it
ever.
come right up on you.
Come right. Okay, sorry.
Ask that question again.
Okay. So we're sitting here. We're at Big Tom's farm. I mean, you look over the backdrop. We got Big Tom over there. We got Lex in the background over there. You know, how crazy is it reuniting the Survivor Africa cast after all these years?
It's like old home week. And then Tanya's here and Donovan's here and to meet you and to meet Matt. I mean, it's great. It's like there's been no time. And Glenn and I came up here 4 years ago, but it seems like it was just a few months ago. because we kind of stay in touch through social media, even though we don't see each other. And even though, like I said, you and I've never met, I feel like we know each other.
Oh.
So it's really awesome.
It's like when you guys first, like you said you came out to McDonald's about 4 years ago. Was there ever that little bit of, guys, you could have worked with me a little further in the game, and maybe one of us would be sitting here with $1 million. Look at
I love him. No, that is the beauty of him and Big Tom. They make a pact. They're loyal, and they never change or switch.
Never waver.
And that's why I love them so much. They're true to themselves. They're true to their game. Yeah.
So no ill will, no
No,
hard feelings.
not at all.
Just I wish I was one of them.
That's right.
And
Exactly.
wish Ethan wasn't there.
Well, I didn't say that. But hopefully we'll get to see Ethan play again pretty soon.
I think we are. Did you see on Instagram? He looked pretty old.
No, I didn't see
I don't know if he looked skinny, but I know he looked old.
I didn't see that one.
Okay.
I did see a couple of players that looked like they'd been out in the weather for a little while.
Well, Ponderosa's got hot weather too.
You're right.
Just saying.
You're right. So I think the season's good. The only thing is, it's kind of like, I feel like S39, and I know once it starts, we'll get excited for it. I know we will.
Just right now,
But
completely
right now,
overshadowed.
They're so overshadowed. I feel bad for all these players. But all you S39 players, don't you worry about a thing. When your season starts, we're going to be cheering you on. We're going to be loving you.
And there's no
He's
way.
going to be, baby.
I'm going to be mean.
Okay,
Yeah,
you might be. You never know.
There's no way it can be as bad as season 38. So they got that going.
Right,
There's no
so
way. It's not physically possible.
Yeah, so once it starts up, everybody will be rooting for y'all. But for now, because we know what we know, or we think we know for S40 on who's playing, we think we know who's playing, we can't help but start talking about that. It's kind of, it's good social media, it's good chatter. But we'll be excited about S39 in a couple of months.
There we go. You heard it here first. Oh, look at it here. Mwah.
I gotta go catch a fish.
Go catch a fish.
Catch a
We'll
fish.
film it if you do.
Okay.
Don't even waste the film. She's not catching nothing.